All right, so our deployment succeeded. Good. All right, so I'm going to close this notification area here. And as I said before, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we can log in to the server using remote desktop. And I'm not sure if the virtual machine has fully started up yet, but we'll give it a shot. So if I go to the overview, like let's say you log in to Azure here, to the portal, and I'm at the dashboard. There's a lot of ways to get to the same resource, but we want to go to the virtual machine. So let's say we want to get to it through our resource group. So you remember I called it GU Tech EcoHouse was the resource group name. If I click on it, here's all the resources in that resource group. So even though I only set up a virtual machine, Azure went ahead and automatically set up the this is OS operating system disk. It set up a network interface for the virtual machine, a storage account, and this is actually how they bill you for storage. So that's a whole separate category. You can see it, storage account, okay, on the left menu here. So we have one of those, all right? And again, it just set all this stuff up automatically. All right, we have a public IP address resource. We have a network security group resource and a virtual network resource. I don't ever use any of these things explicitly. An expert probably would, but again, I'm just trying to run a couple pieces of software on a virtual machine. That's it. So I don't really worry about this stuff that I don't understand unless I need to. So let's go to the virtual machines here. So there's our one that we set up, GU Tech EcoHouse. Let me click on that. And then, okay, we can see that it's in the GU Tech EcoHouse resource group. It's running. It's in West India. Our subscription is a free trial. There's our subscription ID. Computer name is GU Tech EcoHouse. I forget if we set up a username for our virtual machine. Anyhow, we may have to deal with that. Okay, so here's and here's where you can see how much CPU is using, network, all this stuff. Okay. Now, if we go to connect up here, what we have is there's two ways to connect, SSH or RDP. So we're going to use RDP. To connect to your virtual machine via RDP, select an IP address. I think we just have one here. Well, yeah, we're accessing it from outside. So we want the public IP address. Optionally change the port number. No, the default is fine. And download the RDP file, which is going to have all this configuration information and hopefully make it easy for us to connect. Here's the note. Inbound traffic to the public IP address may be blocked. You can update inbound port rules in the VM networking page. I don't know if we need to bother with that. I think remember when we set up the virtual machine, we told it that we wanted to open a port on 3389 for remote desktop access. So the port should already be open. VM networking page. All right, so if we go to, I'm just curious about this. See, we want to look at resource group, virtual network. All right. Service endpoints. No service endpoints. Again, this is a little beyond my knowledge here. Networking. Oh, here we go. Okay. So here are the inbound port rules. All right. So there's our remote desktop. Okay. So, and any IP address is allowed. All right. So you may want to meet your security protocols, you may want to limit who can access this server through any of these services by specifying particular IP addresses that are allowed, or whitelisting, I guess it's called. All right, but anyhow, these are all allowed because we set them to be allowed when we set up our virtual machine. So I'm going to go back to virtual machine and click on, I forget if I did this before. Okay, no, I didn't. All right, so there's our RDP configuration file. So if I click on that, all right, we're just going to ignore that about the, I guess it's just not a known publisher, but we trust it. All right. This, when I was testing before, this is where I got a little confused. All right, I did set up that password. Oh, that's right. When I set up the virtual machine, remember when I entered my name, or I entered M. Wasmer? It did ask me for a username and password. I said M. Wasmer and then this password. Then I'm typing in now. All right. This should work, okay? So make sure you remember the username and password that you established when you created the virtual machine. All right, certificate stuff. You may worry about this. I don't, because I don't fully understand it all. I get the idea, but I don't worry about it. Maybe I'll regret that someday. But I just click don't ask me again for connections to this computer so that in the future when I log in using remote desktop, I don't have to worry about this. Now we'll see if it connects. All right, it does look like it's connecting. This is the remote desktop interface. Okay, that's me. So after it does log in, our first, at that point, we'll have confirmed that we can successfully connect using remote desktop. And the next thing we want to do is copy the LoggerNet and RTMC Pro setup files to the virtual machine. And then we'll go ahead and install them. I'm going to minimize this a little bit. All right, so I think everything's looking good there. We don't need this quick start anymore. We do need our keys for LoggerNet and RTMC Pro because we're going to install them. We'll leave our dashboard open here, our Azure dashboard. I'm going to go to the email that I sent Nito the other day. Okay, here's all the steps. Okay, it looks like looks like the virtual, oh, there it is. Virtual machine is booting up. It does need a little bit of time. I don't know if this has to do with it having a fairly small memory. I don't know, but that's okay. All right, so we'll let it do its thing. Let's see what step we're on now. Decide who should be able to access the data logger via LoggerNet, and who will be able to view the RTMC Pro dashboards. Okay, this is a bigger thing that we can discuss next week. Set up a Windows server. We've done that. Team members will access the server using remote desktop, which we've shown is working. Configure remote desktop access so the team members can access LoggerNet. Okay, so I have a username right on that I use to log into this virtual machine. You may want to set up additional users. That's up to you how you want to administer this server. I don't know. Do you want to allow your PC to be discoverable? I'm going to say no just to be safe. We'll see if that causes problems. But okay, this line moving across means that this server manager is still checking things out. I don't really know what it's doing, but we may see that there's one of these, I think one of the services is red. I've seen that before, and I think what I've done to get rid of it is just restart the virtual machine. Oh, there we go. Turned red. I don't really know what these mean. I don't know what downloaded maps manager is or sync host. So when I've seen these in the past, I either ignore them or I restart the virtual machine and they usually go away. Maybe this has something to do with the fact that this virtual machine is brand new. Not sure. For now, let's just ignore it. Oh, it just went down to one red item. Let me open Server Manager again. Again, I'm not a Windows administrator, so I don't really know all the details of all this stuff. Okay, I'll leave it open. I'll just minimize it, but leave it open, see if it changes. All right, so we've got our virtual machine running. The first thing I would do is Windows update just to see if it needs updates. So again, it is going to be your responsibility this is an unmanaged virtual machine. So I do go in with my virtual machine. I do go in every once in a while and install the updates that it requires. Mine has never been hacked or anything. So I think, as long as you just keep it updated, it seems fine. I don't know why it says no match. So I have a pretty fast internet connection, and you can see there's some delay here. So you just kind of have to be patient. Windows. I'm looking for the update. Oops. Usually it just appears if you search for it. Well, okay. Whenever there is an update required, it shows up here in whatever they call this area here. I forget what this is called, but whenever I log into my virtual machine and it needs an update, it's pretty obvious. There's a notification that comes up here. All right, so it's not there. Hopefully that means we don't need an update.